I knew that my mom and dad loved me, but because of the struggles that were present in my home, I a lot of times felt like they didn't love me. I can even remember times when I would cry or pray and ask God to help me feel loved. Through everything, my grandmother was really the rock in my life. She was a very good and godly woman who took amazing care of me at times when my own parents were struggling, and I actually owe a lot of who I am to her. My parents lost custody of me multiple times, and I did spend some time in foster care, and because of these struggles, I developed a burden for other people who were hurting. And I gravitate naturally toward those who are struggling in their life with hurts and need healing. When I was at Bob Jones University, my freshman year in 1994, I was sitting in a chapel service, and the speaker was teaching about how bitterness could take root in our hearts and how it could destroy our future if we allow it to. And I remember going back to one of the prayer rooms in Mary Gaston dormitory in the basement, and at that time there were benches all the way around the room, and there was nobody else there, but I kneeled down by the bench and I just started praying and crying out to God, and I prayed and asked him to help me to forgive my parents for the things that I had suffered as a child. And I remember crying and praying and crying, and I walked into that room carrying such a heavy burden, and I remember telling God that if I was going to be able to forgive my parents, that I needed his help, that I couldn't do it by myself. And I asked him to help me to forgive, and I asked him to take that burden from me. And after I prayed, there was a Bible laying next to me on the bench, and I don't really do this as a general practice, but I opened it up, and of course it fell open to somewhere in Psalms, and I looked down, and the first verse that caught my eye was Psalm 24 verse 10, which says, "When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up." And I just remember feeling confirmation from God, from reading that in his word, that he had heard my prayer and that he wanted me to have that bright future also. Originally, I started out as a dramatic productions major at Bob Jones University and did a lot of speech education and a lot of drama-related training. But in my sophomore year, I felt God pulling me towards counseling. My junior year at Bob Jones, my now husband and I decided to get married. And at that time, we were working in the group home together. So we decided that he would continue to go to university and I would take a break for a while. I never realized that break would be over 20 years in the process. But because of the SCOPE program at Bob Jones, I was able to continue my education even after all of those years had passed. One of the biggest things that I realized through the Biblical Worldview and Ministry degree was how important it is for us to know what we believe and why we believe it. And I find that many times today in our society, in our culture, in our churches, there is a lack of understanding those things. And so the Biblical Worldview and Ministry degree was a great place to start and lay that foundation in my own life. And I'm hopeful that I can help other people and point them to the scripture to be able to understand and know why they believe what they believe as well. At the church I currently work at, they have a care ministry, and there's a care director and pastor who oversee that ministry. And As I work here and as I interact with people, I'm constantly reminded of the need for people who are struggling with different areas of their life and need counseling. If you're wondering if it's worth going back and finishing your degree and if SCOPE is right for you, I would say after you've prayed and asked God what His will is, that don't let anything hold you back. What seemed like it might have been impossible because of the different challenges that I faced and all the time that had elapsed, SCOPE made possible for me. I think one of the biggest challenges for me personally was just the balance of work, family, and school. It was worth it to me because I knew the end result would be that I had completed something that I started and that I really wanted to finish. Don't let anything hold you back. Don't let any circumstance or any doubt that's in your heart or your mind hold you back from it. If God is calling you to it, then He will help you go through it and He'll help you complete it.